What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports back to you guys with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers impact players for the 2019 NFL season. Now, the first player that I have on this list is wide receiver DAVANTE Adams. DAVANTE Adams last year had 1,386 receiving yards, 111 receptions, and he had 13 touchdowns and went to the Pro Bowl. Now, DAVANTE Adams was targeted a lot. He was one of the most targeted wide receivers in all of the NFL last season. And that's because he was Aaron Rodgers' best option and pretty much the only reliable option that Aaron Rodgers was comfortable throwing to, because his rookie wide receivers weren't really that effective, man. So DAVANTE Adams, I'm expecting him to keep up the same amount of production, because although I believe the Green Bay Packers young wide receivers are going to be a lot better, they're now going to have a full off season of development and improvement. But DAVANTE Adams is still the best wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers roster by a landslide. I don't even know if it's a better term to use than a landslide, but he's the best wide receiver on the roster by a lot. I think he's going to have near the same amount of production that he had last season. He's probably going to have 1,200 receiving yards, over 100 receptions, and he's going to have 9 to 10 touchdowns. And I think he's going to make it to the Pro Bowl again. And next up on this list, we have the bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, he went to the Pro Bowl last season, passed for 4,442 passing yards, had 25 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions, one of the lowest touchdowns to interception ratios in the NFL history. And he also completed 62.3% of his passes. Now, Aaron Rodgers is going to be interesting to see how this Green Bay Packers offense and him perform under new head coach Matt LaFleur, who I wasn't really sold on as a good hiring for the Green Bay Packers offense. I actually think that was probably one of the worst hirings in the NFL offseason, because you're getting the offensive coordinator who basically the only thing he did for Tennessee was basically just run. And I don't really know how innovative Matt LaFleur is as an offensive coordinator when all he just did was run the freaking football. But hey, Aaron Rodgers is still going to have a very good season. We know he's going to put up very good stats. He is the best quarterback in all of football, the most talented quarterback that we have in football. Good arm, great accuracy, ability to run, be mobile, extend plays in the pockets. Aaron Rodgers is just incredible. He might be the most talented quarterback in the history of the NFL, and I think he's going to have a pretty good 2019 NFL season. Next up, I have halfback Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones last season had 728 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 5.5 yards per carry. And him and Jamal Williams are a pretty good 1-2 punch at that Green Bay Packers halfback position. They pretty much had the best backfield that the Green Bay Packers have had in a while. And they have 2 very good, capable running backs, all very capable of being RB1s on pretty much any other teams that need a running back right now. So they're pretty good starting running backs. Aaron Jones, very good runner. Also can do some things in the pass game as well. Jamal Williams is more of the more shiftier back and whatnot. So both of these guys bring a good advantage to the Green Bay Packers running game, and they're going to be heavily utilized this year for the Green Bay Packers. And I believe Aaron Jones is probably going to be the lead back. And I do believe him and Jamal Williams are going to end up splitting carries, but I believe Aaron Jones is probably the better back, and I think he's going to have the better season going into 2019. Next up, we have tight end JACE Sternberger, who the Green Bay Packers drafted in the 3rd round of this year's NFL draft. Out of Texas A&M, he was an All-American, led Texas A&M in receiving yards. And JACE Sternberger, I have him on this list over Jimmy Graham because I don't think Jimmy Graham is going to do anything this year. He'll probably score 1 touchdown, maybe 2 or not, but I think Jimmy Graham is pretty much done. He came close to retiring this off season, but he decided to come back, or Green Bay brought him back for 1 more year. But I just don't see him doing anything. And I think JACE Sternberger is going to be that guy who ends up getting more, who's going to end up starting over Jimmy Graham. I think he's going to get more plays than Jimmy Graham this season, just because Jimmy Graham isn't really going to do that much, in my opinion. I think JACE Sternberger is going to be in for a great rookie season for a tight end. I think he's going to have 600 receiving yards, which is very good from a tight end standpoint. He's going to have 40 receptions, and he's going to have 4 touchdowns. Now moving on to the defense side of the ball, I have defensive end ZADARIUS Smith. Now ZADARIUS Smith was one of the Green Bay Packers' heavy and aggressive off-season acquisitions. They picked them up in free agency, and the Green Bay Packers, man, they went absolutely ham. And that front office on the defense side of the ball, they were determined on improving this defense, which at times looked very good, and at most of the times looked very well, not very good. But ZADARIUS Smith is a good person to bring in. He's going to be probably one of their best pass rushers on the team. They let go of Clay Matthews, ZADARIUS Smith, younger, faster, and the better player at this point in his career than what Clay Matthews is, which Clay Matthews is on the downside of his career, which he is now on the LA Rams. So ZADARIUS Smith last season had 45 tackles, 8.5 sacks. I think he repeats those similar numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting 10 sacks. Very good acquisition by the Green Bay Packers, and he's going to be that guy who they bring in, who's going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback, something that the Green Bay Packers have struggled with over the past couple of years, getting to the quarterback and creating constant pressure. So ZADARIUS Smith, I think he's going to be that guy that the Green Bay Packers have been looking for. Then they also have Rashawn Gary, who they drafted. So I'm going to be eager to see how they get him involved on the defensive side of the ball. So overall, I have high expectations for ZADARIUS Smith going into the 2019 NFL season, and I do believe that he will live up to them. And if he didn't, I wouldn't have him on this list. Next up, we have Jaire Alexander, who the Green Bay Packers selected in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft out of Louisville, along with Josh Jackson, who was another good cornerback in that class last season out of Iowa. But Jaire Alexander was the better of the two. Jaire Alexander was consistent. Josh Jackson struggled with consistency all throughout his rookie season. But Jaire Alexander, you could make the case during midway of the NFL season last year that him and Denzel Ward were neck and neck because they both had very good performances. Denzel Ward obviously had his good performances early on against Pittsburgh. Jaire Alexander had his performances. He had that very, very good game against the Minnesota Vikings. Jaire Alexander, he had 66 tackles, 1 interception, 11 pass deflections, and 2 fumble recoveries. Jaire Alexander, man, he's going to be a big part of that Green Bay Packers very young and retooled secondary. Very, very young. So Jaire Alexander, high expectations for him. I think he's going to capitalize off what was a very good rookie year. He was the second best rookie cornerback behind Denzel Ward, and Denzel Ward was absolutely phenomenal. But Jaire Alexander was very good too, and I think he's going to have a very good season in 2019. Next up, we have rookie safety Darnell Savage, who the Green Bay Packers took with the 21st overall pick in this past year's NFL draft out of the University of Maryland. Now, Darnell Savage, didn't really see a lot of film on him, but from what I heard, he's a very good tackler, very good in coverage. And the Green Bay Packers starting safety from last season has demanded a trade, so he wants to get out of Green Bay. And he's most likely wants to get out of Green Bay because he knows Darnell Savage is most likely going to be the guy who's going to be starting over him. I think Darnell Savage is going to have a very up and down rookie year at that safety position just because I know I wasn't really high on him. And really, Darnell Savage was a guy who was getting attention, after the college football offseason because before the combine and stuff like that, this guy had a third, fourth round grade on most of the boards of general managers and scouts and stuff like that. But he had a pretty good pro day, a very good combine. So that's what increased his stock into the first round. Still don't even know how that boosted him from a third round projection all the way into the first round. But hey, man. So Darnell Savage, man, he has high expectations, but I think he has a pretty up and down rookie year. But I think he's going to have a very good rookie season to, end the season. I think he struggles during the first 9 games, but then after that he picks it up, which is why I have him on this list because I think he's going to be pretty good in the second half of the season, but I think he's going to struggle in the first half. But overall, I think he should have a pretty solid rookie year. The next player that we have on this list is safety Adrian Amos. Now, him and Darnell Savage are going to be starting right next to each other. Adrian Amos, one of the best safeties in the NFL last season, according to Pro Football Focus. And he has 73 tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 pass deflections. Very good safety. And he's going to improve what hasn't been a Green Bay Packers secondary hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been good neither. So he's going to improve that secondary. A very good addition there. They are paying this guy a lot of money. So he better live up to the expectations that they have for him. And I think he will. I think he'll make it to the Pro Bowl this year. And I think he's going to have a very, very good impact on this Green Bay Packers defense. So let me know what you guys think about this list down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and comment what you want to see next. And thanks for watching.